Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another math video. In this video, I will go over real-world inequalities and inequalities basics. Okay, so to start off, you can see up here we have this table of inequality symbols, and there are four of them. We have strictly less than, which you can see by this symbol here, strictly greater than, which you can see by this symbol here, less than or equal to, which you can see by this symbol here, and greater than or equal to, which you can see by this symbol here. And in each of those boxes, you can see many different phrases. They are not exhaustive lists, but many different phrases that mean the same thing as the math phrasing strictly less than or equal to. Like strictly less than could be smaller than, under, below, lower. Greater than or equal to could be at least, no less than, a number or more. And our first foray into inequalities, we start getting into basics, is looking at the inequalities that happen around us. And they are around us, out there in the real world. For example, you can see the example one here. To get a 10% discount, you must spend no less than $200. So you find the phrasing no less than, and then you try to find it in one of these boxes up here. Eventually, you should know how this translates pretty quickly. So no less than, I can see that here. That means I'm going to use this symbol in my inequality. So let me do this. There we go. This is a greater than or equal to symbol. Now on the right side, you want to put the number. And on the left side, you want to put the variable. And I promise this makes the most sense in our minds. Okay, I'll come back to that in a couple minutes, how it makes the most sense. Before I do that, I want to get over here to example 2. You can see to ride a roller coaster, you must be shorter than 72 inches. I really like to travel to visit my family over the holidays. And my parents still live by, and I grew up near one of the greatest amusement parks in the whole entire world. And they have this restriction for some of the rides that you have to get on. You must be shorter than 72 inches. Okay, so shorter than. Let's see if we can find out. So shorter than 72 inches. So there's got to be less than. Shorter than, at most, no, it's not here, smaller than, under, below, lower. Well, I don't see an exact match, but that is okay. Shorter than does mean under or below a certain height. So this will use the less than symbol. And since you have to be less than the number, remember we put the number on the right side and the variable on the left. And the variable can be whatever you choose. I chose X for the first one because I teach math. I chose H for example 2 over here because we're talking about height. So the variable can change, and you might even be told what variable to use. And if that's the case, just pick that variable. Now, I mentioned having the variable on the left makes the most sense. Why is this true? Well, you can see here that the height needs to be less than 72 inches. If I'm just reading this very mathematically, H is strictly less than 72. What that means and what our brains hear is we need to find numbers less than 72. So 71 inches, heck, even 71.5 inches would work. But if I were to equivalently write this inequality, I have to keep the direction it's opening matching what it is original. So it's opening toward the 72. That means it's opening toward the 72. These inequalities are equivalent. That being said, when you read this inequality, we now state 72 is greater than h. And when your brain hears the words greater than, it automatically starts trying to think of numbers that are greater than the number that's given. So 72 is greater than h, that's fine, and it's true. But students and just the general public will start saying, oh yeah, so you can be 75 inches tall and still ride this ride. You can be 80 inches tall and still ride this ride. No, 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 no. If you substitute either of those in for this height, what you're plainly telling anybody who cares about this is that 80 is less than 72, and that is not true. So do your best to try to keep the variables on the left to have it make the most sense in your brain. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.